Good morning, third English students. Now in this video we will discuss history of radio. Okay, we will have 2 or 3 videos on radio, and we will end up this topic by 2 or 3 videos. Now in this video we will discuss history of radio and history of radio in the world as well as in India. Okay, first development of radio as a mass media. Okay, how radio developed as a mass media. Radio began with the invention of magnetic waves, radio waves, and wireless telegraph. Okay, with the invention of magnetic waves, radio waves, and wireless telegraph, the instrument, the mass media radio developed. And initially when the radio was invented, it was invented to communicate from one ship to another ship. So in the ocean, radio was used to communicate from one ship to another ship. Radio was used. Okay, for that purpose only radio was invented. Radio was well used in ships. Because of industrialization, radio became social usage. Okay, and let's say using of missiles or some other gadgets. Let's say a gun. Okay, gun cannot be used by ordinary people. There are various procedures in it. If I want to buy a gun, I have to get license, and there are various procedures. Okay, and so why? Because by using gun I can kill people. Okay, and likewise in those days radio was not used by common people, and because of industrialization, rich people, slowly common people began to buy radio. Okay, and so radio was initially used to disseminate news to common people. Common people brought radio to get news. Okay, of course we have print media, but people find easily accessible when they have radio. Okay, so first of all, radio was used to disseminate news to common people. The first radio station was set up in Pittsburgh, P-A-T-T-S, Pittsburgh, New York, and then in Chicago in 1920s to broadcast election news and sports news. Okay, first radio station was set up in Pittsburgh, New York. Okay, and then in the same year in Chicago. Okay, to disseminate, to broadcast election news and sports news. Okay, in 1923, by 1923, 450 radio stations were opened in USA. Okay, and as radio got more and more popularity in 1920, when the radio station was opened in 1920 in Pittsburgh and in Chicago, radio got popularity, and by 1923, 450 radio stations were opened in USA. And then slowly in Europe and in England, radio was set up, and in Britain, radio became a public enterprise. Public enterprise in the sense it is owned by public, that is owned by the government, but it can act in its own way. Okay, all the decision are up to it is a public enterprise. Any decision making, policy change, there is no need for them to get the permission of government or any prime minister or minister. They cannot control the public enterprise. Okay, so because it is disseminating news, it is a radio station, BBC. BBC was first of all a radio station, and then only we have a television news channel. But BBC was first of all a radio station only, radio channel only, owned by public enterprise. Okay, and as they spread news, as they broadcast news, they have to occupy. The government is not functioning. Such kind of news will be spread, and therefore it should be made as a public enterprise. Then only it can function in a proper way. Okay, then BBC became an autonomous public enterprise in England. Other countries also began to broadcast news. Okay, so this is the history of radio in the world. Indian broadcasting, history of radio in India. Broadcasting was introduced by amateur radio clubs by private enterprise in Calcutta, Bombay, Madras and Lahore. Amateur radio channels in the sense it was opened by Indians. Okay, British government never attempted to open radio station in India. Indians themselves amateur. Okay, not without knowing everything. Okay, without knowing everything, they with the transmitter they tried to broadcast news. Okay, without knowing the proper knowledge, even Dadasaheb Phalke also brought the camera to film, to shoot movies. Without having knowledge, he made it. Likewise, in India also, Indians attempted to set up a radio station in Calcutta, Bombay, Madras and Lahore. Okay, and and slowly on 16th May 1924, Madras Presidency radio broadcast was born. Okay, so Madras Presidency radio broadcast was born on 16th May 1924. Okay, and that became British government introduced that radio, and the amateur. Okay, so amateur radio station, they, for the sake of Indians from maybe let's say 20 or 30 kilometers, not more than, not even 30 kilometers, not more than 20 kilometers, they want to communicate easily. So they made we cannot say that it is a radio station. Okay, yeah, they have a transmitter. I have transmitter. In Kadlur they have a transmitter. Using that somehow they communicated. Okay, and but in 1924 Madras Presidency radio broadcast was born, and then in 1927 many private company began to broadcast came into begin in India. Okay, so many private radio channels were opened, and they began to broadcast news. Okay, and then a proper radio station throughout India was set up, and its name, and it is called as Indian State Broadcasting Service. In June 1936, Indian State Broadcasting Service was opened by the British government, and then immediately the name was changed as All India Radio. Okay, so in June 1936, Indian State Broadcasting Service was opened, and then immediately the name was changed as All India Radio. Okay, and that is said to be a proper radio channel for India. Okay, even now All India Radio is doing the service. So the government, the central government radio channel is there. They whatever Modi says or any government news, everything they continue to survive even today. So that was opened in June 1936. Okay, so that's the history of radio. So okay, a short video only. So okay, doesn't matter. That's all. Thank you.